Welcome to the Athenian Acropolis. Every year, millions of visitors travel to the site to take in the wondrous architecture and history of this ancient complex. This visitor's guide will give you a quick tour of a few of the important buildings that make up the Acropolis. The Acropolis was a religious center of ancient Athens that served as a sacred place of refuge where Athenians communicated with the gods. It was settled as early as the Neolithic period and gradually became an important political center which was protected by strong Cyclopean defensive walls. The arrangement of buildings had many purposes, including serving as a place of worship, royal residence, an administrative, commercial, and military center, a treasury, and a sanctuary during war. The site was completely razed during the Persian War, and afterwards Athenians vowed to leave the Acropolis barren as a memorial to the conflict. However, the oath was broken shortly after the statement was made, and a massive construction project began in the footprints of the old buildings. Pericles, a prominent figure in Athenian democracy, developed a major building plan to increase Athens' political and cultural power by building on the Acropolis. The Acropolis additionally had several different uses after the classical period. Some examples include a Christian church in the 6th century AD under the reign of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian, and a mosque during Ottoman rule. The Acropolis still has an important role as a monument that links modern-day Greece to the past. It is currently a UNESCO World Heritage Site, signaling its historical and cultural significance. The Acropolis Museum, built in 2009, serves to promote Greek history by linking modern-day Greece with ancient Athens, and is considered to be an extension of the Acropolis itself.
Upon approaching the Acropolis, the first structure a visitor sees is the Propylaea, which functions as a monumental entryway to the historic area. Construction began in 437 BC after a majority of the construction of the Parthenon had been completed. The project was overseen by the architect Mnesocles, about whom little is known. The Peloponnesian War halted progress on the Propylaea indefinitely. Indeed, it was never finished, although most of the important components had been constructed before the war. The project was difficult due to the uneven topography of the land, which led to irregularity in the northern and southern spaces. Therefore, the monument is placed on multiple slopes. The Propylaea features both Doric and Ionic orders, much like the Parthenon, though most of the columns are in Doric style. Doric columns are present in the front and back. There are narrow Ionic columns through the gateway, which allows the entryway to feel more open. This was an architectural achievement. Though likely not ideal to the Greeks, the Propylaea has an asymmetrical design, with two unused corridors. The idea of symmetry would have been desirable because the Greeks didn't like chaos. The placement of the Propylaea at the west end of the Acropolis forces visitors to walk all the way around the Acropolis in order to get to the entrance of the Parthenon at the east end of the hill. Today, the purpose of the Propylaea remains intact as it welcomes visitors to the historical landmark. It is not in the best condition, but it continues to be an impressive structure.
The Parthenon was built between 447 and 432 BC under Pericles during a height of Athenian power. It was the first monument built as part of a Periclean project. It was a sacred site that symbolized Athenian dominance and served as a treasury which held money from a Delian week. Much of its construction was funded using these collected riches. It was designed by Ictinos and Callicrates and decorated by the sculptor Phidias. The Parthenon is architecturally notable, giving the illusion of being built on level ground, though it is actually supported by a man-made platform due to the uneven terrain. This ensures its visibility from a large distance, making its monument more visually impressive. It was the largest temple in the Greek mainland at its time. The Parthenon is overall a Doric temple, but contains slender Ionic interior columns. It was built from high-quality white marble and was originally richly decorated with vividly painted sculpture. The 92 carved exterior metopes depict scenes of mythic struggle, where the Greeks are victorious and bring order to groups of enemies representing chaos. Each side of the Parthenon presents a different battle in which the Greeks or their gods emerge victorious. The Gigantomachy at the east, the battle of the Greeks and Amazons at the west, the Trojan War at the north, and the battle between the Lapiths and the Centaurs at the south. Friezes ran around the outside of the inner building with a viewing height of 10 feet. The frieze shows soldiers riding horses and chariots, as well as a procession. At the center are 5 figures, and it is controversial what they reference. One theory is that it could be an archon, priestess, and a temple boy. Other scholars suggest that the figures are the family of Erechtheus. The pediments focus on myths important to the Athenians, though have been damaged. There are 2 pedimental sculptures on the Parthenon, the east depicting the birth of Athena as she is born from Zeus's head, and the west showing a competition between Athena and Poseidon over becoming a patron deity of the city of Athens, in which Athena is victorious. The Parthenon also contained a cult statue of an armed Athena, standing 38 feet tall and composed of ivory and gold plates. The building has been severely damaged and changed over time, and in modernity was never fully reconstructed. Examples of the injuries the structure endured include an explosion of gunpowder in 1687 when the Ottoman Turks seized the Parthenon as a storage site, and the systematic removal of sculpture by Lord Elgin, who shipped much of the detailed artwork to England. Debate over the presence of these marbles in London rather than in Athens continues to this day, as the respective governments of each nation claim ownership of the artifacts. Greeks began restoration of the Parthenon in 1841, and there were further restorations before and after World War I as Greeks became more interested in preserving and displaying their past.
The Erechtheion was debatably a less impressive structure than the Parthenon, but more religiously significant because it housed important religious artifacts and was a setting for rituals. It was dedicated to Athena and Poseidon, the two main deities of Athens. Construction began in 420 BC during the Peace of Nikias and was completed in 406 BC. Work on the structure continued through the Peloponnesian War. The Erechtheion was the final installment on the Acropolis in the program initiated by Pericles and was built to replace the old temple. This monument was uniquely built to accommodate the arrangement of important religious sites and artifacts, and to deal with the rough terrain. Significant artifacts housed here include Poseidon's salt spring, a lamp, a snake pit, and many others. The north and west walls are nearly twice the height of those in the front and to the south due to the drop-off. The front of the temple and the north porch are supported by Ionic columns, but the south porch is held up by the Caryatids. These are large statues of women that support the structure of the south porch in place of traditional columns. This was not an unusual practice in Greek architecture, though the Erechtheion is the only Acropolis structure to include such a feature. Today, 5 of the original statues are on display in the Acropolis Museum, but one is in the British Museum, having been one of the many marble pieces taken by Lord Elgin in his controversial trip to the site. Exact replicas of the Caryatids stand in place in the temple. The east side of the Erechtheion was dedicated to Athena Polias and contained the sacred olive tree that the goddess is said to have created. It also housed the Zoanon, the wooden cult statue of Athena that supposedly fell from the heavens. The west side included the saltwater spring from Poseidon and shrines and altars to other gods and heroes. The building was later used as a Christian church and a harem. There was once a decorative frieze that followed the full perimeter of the temple, but has since become too damaged to discern even the most general theme. It was also damaged by fire and architectural edits, leaving us with little knowledge of the original floor plan.
The Acropolis, once the religious epicenter of Athens, has been given a new life as a place of great historical value. Additionally, the Acropolis is a major contributor to Greece's tourism revenue. As you walk through the Acropolis, the past and the present combine to form an experience that you will never forget.